Okay, so hopefully you've taken a few minutes to complete this warm-up and that we're getting comfortable with both the information and graphing from standard forms. So let's look at these. So if I am writing this in factored form, changing it here, looking for two numbers that multiply to be 7, add to be -8, so we have x minus 7, x minus 1. So that means my x-intercepts, if we set each of these equal to 0, we get 7, 0, and 1, 0. So let's start our graph at the same time. If I plot these points at 1, 0, and 7, 0, my line of symmetry is going to be halfway in between. So drop this in here at x equals 4. Find the vertex by plugging in that x value of 4 into the equation. So we're doing f of 4, and I'm doing 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 7. So we've got 16 minus 32 plus 7. So what? We've got -16, 7, so that is -9. So I would have a point down here at 4, -9. And then if I look at my y-intercept is going to be when x is 0. So I would do f of 0. And the first two terms are going to go away. So I'm just going to have 7. So I'm going to have this up here at 0, 7. And then obviously on this side, I would have a symmetric one, and I can just go ahead and sketch that graph. And I've got all sorts of important information, even with just those 5 points. If I look at this one, I was hoping you would think of getting the line of symmetry by doing x equals -b over 2a. So we would have had the opposite of -2 over 2 times -2. So we're going to get +2 over -4, which is -1/2. So our line of symmetry is x equals -1/2. The vertex then comes from plugging that in. So I'm going to say f of -1/2, -2 times -1/2 squared, minus 2 times -1/2, plus 7.5. So if I look at this, -1/2 squared is going to be 1/4 times -2. So I'm going to get -1/2. I've got -2 times -1/2, so +1, and then 7.5. So my vertex would be, well, let's finish this up. So we've got 8. So my vertex would be at -1/2, 8. And again, my y-intercept is when we plug in 0 for x, and this goes away, we're left with 7 1/2. Okay, if I'm writing a quadratic equation that has a vertex at -3, 6, that should hopefully tell me I would like to think of this in vertex form. Okay, so I'm going to plug in what I know. I have x minus a -3, so x plus 3, and then I have plus 6. I also know that it passes through this point -7, -26. So that's an x and a y value, excuse me, that make this true. So I'm going to plug in -26 for y. I'm going to plug in -7 for x. And I am going to figure out what the a value is, because there are obviously a million different equations that could go through that one vertex. All right, so we're going to subtract the 6. So I have -32 equals a times, and then I've got -7 plus 3, so -4 squared, so I've got 16. So I've got 16a equals -32, so a is going to be -2. So my equation, -2 times x, and then plus 3 and plus 6. So whenever I'm looking for an equation, I put it in the form that the equation kind of gives me. If I have the vertex, I put it in vertex form. If I have the x-intercepts, I put it in factored form. And then I use another point that's on the graph to go ahead and find the a value.